Imagine paying well over $2,000 for a so-called luxury retreat where the main attraction is a group photo and a short fireside chat with Meghan Markle. It's outrageous. There's no masterclass, there's no professional training, no specialized expertise, nothing of the sort. Just access, proximity, controlled access at that. This new Besties retreat in Australia isn't actually selling empowerment, healing, or transformation at all. It's simply selling proximity to a celebrity, an infamous one at that. And the more I looked into this particular event, the more it started to look quite familiar to me, actually. Because this exact formula has already been perfected by wellness guru retreat industry. You've probably seen it before. Expensive multi-day retreats, usually at some sort of overpriced hotel, or sometimes a very nice hotel, that promises personal breakthroughs, healing, transformation, connection, time with like-minded people, that sort of a thing. They're oftentimes hosted by people who have sold a self-help book or are doctors of something. Or sometimes even like meditation, spiritual guidance sort of a people. These types of people oftentimes do these types of things. And the pitch is always the same. Exclusive access, life-changing conversations, a limited number of seats, and a price tag in the thousands. But here is the key difference. Those gurus at least claim to be teaching something. In this case, though, the entire draw appears to be the Meg herself. The ethics are questionable on both sides of the coin, though. Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelly. Welcome back to another video. Please do excuse me. I am still dealing with a really severe injury to my upper back, so I still have my pillow. I still am wearing my zip front things. I had some help with my hair today, though. So I do apologize for the casual vibe. And as always, before we begin, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Click the like button, hype this video if you would like to, and leave me a comment down below. So I have always been quite fascinated by branding and marketing, mainly because it rarely works on me. But I first noticed this and started to notice marketing specifically, in general, out in the world, because my friends would fall for a product after seeing a commercial or an advertisement. They would instantly want whatever that product was, and I almost never had the same reaction or feeling. I still almost never feel that way after seeing an advertisement of any kind. But I found it peculiar, and my curiosity was piqued when I noticed people around me sometimes would. And the more that I have learned about marketing psychology, the less it has worked on me. I'm definitely not easily sold on anything or anyone, but I like that. And it allows me to really look at products or things or services and strip away the branding, the packaging, the marketing, the sleek catchphrases, or the polished presentation that they're putting out there, and see what's actually being sold behind it all. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to strip away all of the marketing floof around this stupid girls trip self-help scam that the Meg is involved with. We're going to see what's actually being sold here, what this is actually about, the motives, the consequences for Meghan Markle's image, and the ethics behind this whole thing, and things similar to it. Because this is an industry that I have always had a little bit of beef with. Anytime I see someone who's selling access in this way, I personally find it rather irritating. My personal opinion is that it's almost always a scam and that it's taking advantage of people. I find it particularly peculiar when it's oriented around any form of self-help or wellness that connects to emotional or mental well-being, physical health, anything of that nature, anything spiritual. I find it to be particularly questionable and oftentimes quite unethical in these self-help spaces specifically. Because in my opinion, if someone is following you on the internet or reading your books or is a fan of you, and you engage in a self-help sort of seminar or something of that nature, a conference, a retreat, then those people are genuinely wanting and seeking help and trying to get better in some way, shape, or form. And for people like Meghan Markle or people who claim to be experts in these spaces to sell access and retreats like this, I just think it's unethical. That's my personal opinion. But let me be very clear. There is a big distinction between selling access like the Meg is doing and lectures or book tours or things of that nature. Really what the key difference comes down to that can expose whether someone is delivering value in this way that is necessitated by in-person events versus just a cash grab like Meg is down to the content itself. For example, an academic touring to different conferences or events, giving their lecture at seminars, things like that, in person allows them to reach a wider audience, gain exposure, network with other people who are in the same field as them, and provide Q&A to enhance the education that they're trying to deliver. Something like a book tour can also be compared similarly, that even though one of the goals of a book tour is to boost sales and drive exposure, publicity, things like that, it still does deliver value to the audience by way of a Q&A for fans or aspiring writers as well. It also is something that, having a signed copy can be very meaningful to some people. But none of these types of things apply to the Meg here, nor to other self-help gurus who do these sorts of wellness retreats. Meghan is not delivering any value. Ergo, this is a sycophantic situation, which to me means she is taking advantage of people, the very small number of fans that she has, as delusional as they may be, as mistaken as they may be. I really dislike this type of behavior from privileged people. Someone like Meghan Markle does not need to charge thousands of dollars to tell people about her bland, normal, average existence that we only know about because of who she married. This is very similar to people online who are selling their programs or their advice or even books that they've written that oftentimes don't actually have much in the way of real expertise in their field. They're not a part of any specific academic groups, typically. They're usually very self-promoting and oftentimes spiritual or pseudoscience in nature. And they take advantage of people. They just do. I can't see it any other way. Promising that this specific trip or retreat or seminar will turn around their lives or be the meditative reset that you need to really have some breakthrough in your manifesting, that you need to do this in order to feel better or be healed or whatever, that for thousands of dollars, the correct solution for you is to go on this retreat, this trip, and gain some degree of access to someone or a small group of people and do it this way, as if the proximity is going to do anything for you and that you're going to have some sort of transformative experience and leave there and everything is going to be so different for you as compared to just reading the book or listening to their podcasts. I mean, it's just insanity. And I'm dismayed at these types of things. I really, really am. Because unless you have that type of disposable income and it just seems like a fun thing to do, it's plain and simple taking advantage of people. In this case, the Meg's small number of fans and anyone who believes their claims of what they're selling, she's taking advantage of them. And I don't think that's nice. But before we get any further, let's just take a look at the facts of what exactly this trip is. They are promoting this Besties retreat as a luxury women's empowerment retreat. And let's just stop right here. You don't need a retreat or anything luxury for that matter to empower yourself. Empowerment comes entirely from within, and spending money on yourself does not lead to empowerment. It also doesn't lead to confidence. Anything that costs money, quite frankly, delivers zero empowerment of oneself, you could argue. The only person empowered by this specific retreat is the Meg, her ego, and her bank accounts. It's called the Her Best Life Retreat, which I hate. There's no one size fits all to a best life for any woman, so this is a scam. I'm all for self-help. Don't get me wrong. I don't think all self-help is a scam. I don't. I think that it's an important industry in a lot of ways, but I also think it's one that's easily abused and manipulative. And I think that trying to catapult a self-help theme, self-help podcast, self-help book, convincing people or telling people that spending thousands of dollars to do this specific retreat or trip or what have you to reach the ultimate experience of self-help, that is incredibly manipulative and problematic. And that, I feel, is where the line should be drawn. It offers 300 slots for about $2,000 or more, depending on the package you choose, plus your travel to and from. It goes for 3 days. If you go all the way and buy the most expensive package, the VIP perks include front row seating at the gala dinner where Meghan will speak, joy, she gets her favorite accessory, a microphone, a group photo with Meghan, see how unspecial that is, a VIP goodie bag, an ocean view hotel room, which is shared, and all retreat activities are included. Well, I'm sure all retreat activities are included for everybody, probably. But anyway, let's look at the marketing language of what they are promising people who attend. Powerful conversations, which you could have with people in your own life. Connection and personal growth, which you get best from looking within and working with people who are actually in your own life. Relaxation and unforgettable experiences of which you can make for yourself independently without spending thousands of dollars. Okay. The activities include yoga, meditation, and manifestation. Oh boy. Sound healing, psychology session. I wonder if they actually have a psychologist present or not. A gala dinner, a disco party, cringe, fireside style conversation with Meghan. Oh dear. The central attraction of the weekend is essentially this single conversation event with Meghan, which will probably be capped at like an hour, maybe 2. So what exactly is this selling when we strip away language like powerful conversations? Intentionally vague, by the way. So what they're really trying to say behind that sort of language is a promise of better manifesting powers, perhaps? How exactly would Meg impart that? Having a dad who gets you a roll-on Suits? That's not necessarily manifested now, is it? Marrying a prince? Was it stalking or was it manifesting? Maybe it was both. Having millions at your disposal to try to write a book that no one bought. Or to try to do podcasts twice and have them both canceled. To try to do a cooking show that was panned and then canceled. To try to launch a business that is failing and can't even turn enough profit to keep Netflix interested. Netflix! I know they're a big conglomerate, but they have really low standards. She hasn't succeeded at anything, and she has nothing to bring to the table here. And I would argue the majority of the things that she has tried being unsuccessful just shows that she is not very successful in the way of manifesting or meditating or living with inner peace or any of that. Because if so, you would think that you would have a lot more positive feedback than what Meg has had. And I've talked about this before when Meghan has previously mentioned like meditating and manifesting and stuff like that she goes about it the entirely wrong way because she fixates so much on the negative elements of her experience of negative press coverage or criticisms or, what she calls online bullying, which is really just people having opinions online, which is very, very normal. So even in this space of like spiritual meditation or manifestation, I would argue she's not a case study of success story because anything that she has tried, she has inadequately manifested because it fails. And anything that she has experienced, she has failed at manifesting it into a positive or meditating through it and not having it affect her because she's always expressing her negative feelings and opinions from these circumstances and situations that she puts herself in. Moving on. The product of this retreat, what it's selling, is not knowledge, healing, or transformation. It's selling the product of proximity to a celebrity, plain and simple. Paying more money means you're sitting closer to Meghan. Paying more money means you get to be in the group photo. Paying more money means you get to be part of this fireside chat. And this is a structure that is identical to fan access monetization models, which I also find somewhat unethical. Here, though, we have this promise of transformation. The marketing really emphasizes personal growth, healing, and empowerment, and the language is intentionally vague behind that to, provide themselves a loophole to not have anybody dissatisfied say, hey, I didn't walk away from this feeling empowered at all. Big surprise. This way they can't have any actual legal recourse. But the reality of the situation is that none of those things could actually materialize. This really does reek of the same exact nonsense that wellness gurus use. The distinction is that, for example, information on personal growth or empowerment or ways to have, a healthier mind state, things of that nature, meditation, all of those types of things. The information on that is not scarce. There are so many, almost unlimited free resources to expand your knowledge in these areas. And ultimately, all of it is cerebral. It comes from within. It's a choice. It's internal, completely. Thinking that being in a specific place, a specific venue, spending a certain amount of money, being closer to a specific person, hearing from them in person versus their reading their book or hearing their podcast online or watching their YouTube videos, it makes zero difference in reality. Because at the end of the day, the work associated with any of those sorts of things comes from you. So putting yourself closer to them for thousands of dollars is not going to make you automatically, magically feel empowered. It's just not. So what this is Meghan and people like her capitalizing on parasocial relationships. And I just find that to be very unethical. So let's take a look at the parallels here because there are so many similarities to what Meghan is doing with these scammy types of grifts, okay? So the shared tactics that we can see is mainly the promise of transformation, marketing that emphasizes that personal growth, the healing, etc., and keeping that language vague on purpose. Scarcity, having a limited number of seats available, and having exclusive VIP tiers. This encourages people to buy the tickets and think less about it and put less thought into it because they think it's going to run out of space, so they act quicker. Or it also can make them eager to buy for the next event just in case, so they don't lose their chance. Premium pricing. These types of retreats almost always cost thousands of dollars. It's not the same as like a conference that has lots of different people lecturing on a specific sort of academic thing, or somebody who is an academic or has a book tour or something like that happening where you're buying tickets to a smaller event and it's more affordable. It's not the same at all. There's oftentimes also an element of experimental framing, things like yoga and meditation and healing sessions, community bonding, manifesting, things that don't have any real reason to be incorporated besides a lifestyle choice. There's nothing behind it that's like demonstrating a reason why you need to come in person to see these things or do these things versus finding a resource that's more affordable closer to where you are. There's also the emotional appeal. Women reconnecting, personal breakthroughs, empowerment narratives, powerful conversations. Using these types of high emotional value language imparts an impression to an audience that it's going to be more meaningful than it really is. The reality of these types of retreats is oftentimes that it's a lot less glamorous than it seems. It doesn't feel like you're getting a good bang for your buck, and people oftentimes leave disappointed or thinking that they missed something. So what we see here is Meghan Markle devolving before our eyes. She got so close to being so famous, and then she ruined it for herself. She collapsed her opportunity, her potential. And we've seen it play out with other people before too. People who got a little bit of fame or a little bit of, recognition for something, and then kind of took 10 steps ahead and wanted a certain vision for their life all of a sudden that they hadn't quite earned or hadn't quite gotten there yet. And they rushed it and then they lost it. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out here. Meghan Markle got almost what she wanted, which was worldwide fame and adoration. And now, as she has lost all of that, she is desperately trying all sorts of things to where now she has stooped down to this selling access format. This just shows how far her star has fallen, and her end goal could only be to do motivational speaking or something of that nature. It's embarrassing, and it's so obvious at this point. She's been rejected in everything that she's tried. It's immature and narcissistic, and ultimately she's taking advantage of people. She's willing to rip people off to feed her ego and try to feel important, and to try to do something, anything. Because at this point, she has nothing left on her plate. It's so low. Like, just think of the contrast of, say, like an athlete, somebody who maybe won gold at the Olympics. Even if they don't have a background in self-help or motivational speaking, they can be a guest speaker at an event or seminar that is oriented around self-improvement because they can still deliver immense value by sharing their story, explaining the grit and mental fortitude and emotional challenges and determination that it took to accomplish what they did. There's value in hearing and them sharing their methods that they relied upon to accomplish something great. Meghan has none of that to offer people. This is her last hope to somehow become a strange version of Tony Robbins so she can at least hear herself talk for money. The big problem with this is that it does take advantage of people, and it is incredibly misaligned with charity work or philanthropy or humanitarianism or anything of that sort. It's nearly the opposite, quite frankly. In fact, Meghan doesn't even exemplify the values that this Her Best Life group peddles, okay? The Meg is not empowered. She has used people and used Harry and the status that he has to get where she is. She's not famous or infamous on her own merits at all. She's famous because of who she married. And she doesn't appear to be living her best life. She appears to be chasing fame that she had handed to her and then proceeded to screw up. Megxit happened because Harry and Meghan were pissed off that Meghan was not getting exclusively positive press. And she wasn't getting public adoration. That is why Megxit happened. She wasn't getting the public love that Princess Diana did. Nor was she getting the positive reaction and public love and support that Catherine, Princess of Wales, gets. But that's exactly what she wanted. Everything that's happened since Megxit has been an attempt to convince the public that they're wrong about Meghan, that they should admire her, they should love her, they should support her. Everything has been about trying to get back not just a level of fame that she and Harry miss having from when they were working royals, but a level of approval that they never achieved. And chasing the approval and the fame and the importance, desperately seeking her next chance to talk about herself and feel important. It cannot possibly be Meg's best life. And that is plainly obvious to all of us. So these women who get suckered into going will learn nothing and gain nothing from being 20 feet away from Meghan Markle while she sucks a microphone. So while I am relieved that their trip down to Australia is not another attempt at a publicized vacation, what the media likes to call faux royal tours, I am dismayed that Meghan is partaking in an activity like this because I find it to be absolutely despicable and super shady at that. But I am eager to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you soon. Have a happy day, everybody. Bye.